Welcome to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Mark. Got Luke with me as always. What's up, man?
Not much, brother. This team's weird. This team's weird.
What
I'm
a roller
happy,
coaster. Yeah,
but
first of all, we're a little late today. I apologize for everybody. We're a little late. I had to get Chick-fil-A this morning, so that's my
damn right.
excuse. I'm the one that held up the entire show for a chicken biscuit, so that one's on me. It's actually I'm not throwing people under the bus. My wife wanted Chick-fil-A too, but it was mainly me. Yeah. So glad to be with you guys today. We got a great show for you. Grizzlies take on the Mavericks last night. We'll talk a lot about that game. Our second segment, 11 hate, and our third segment, Grizzlies got another disabled player exception. Will they use it? I don't know, but we will walk you through, guys. We will walk you through that on the last segment of the show. It should be a fairly short segment, but we'll walk you through all of that to make sure you guys understand it. So you kind of know what the Grizzlies will be able to do when they will be able to do it. But let's start with the Grizzlies and Mavericks last night. Let's start with the fact that the Grizzlies had another injury during the game. Marcus Smart looking like broke ass hand. Did you see that picture I tweeted last night from the Grizzlies account?
No,
his fingers just it's just sideways. Like he shot a 3-ball with that hand like that, and then turns around and is like, "Oh yeah, by the way, my finger's dislocated." He made the 3 too. Like,
yeah, the 3 went in.
Marcus Smart's more of a man than I'll ever be. So that's just there's no way. If I dislocate my finger, I will be in the bed for at least 2 weeks.
Well, it was on his shooting hand too. Didn't he make that shot?
Yeah, he made the shot. It's on his shooting hand. I don't know, man. He had the ice on it on the bench, then had a splint on it. Was asked after the game what it was going to be. I think they were going to do MRI and some testing to see if there's any further damage to his finger. Hopefully, honestly, if you dislocate your finger and there's no damage, I would think it's probably just a soreness thing in terms of being able to play. Yeah, that will be my assumption. Again, I'm not a doctor, nor am I even remotely close to being one, but that will be my assumption is that if there's no internal damage with the MRI that shows up, it's likely going to be just like a soreness, can you play type of thing.
It's a tough son of a bitch, man. Even playing, like making one shot with that hand, like that's tough.
He didn't even know. He only knew because he looked up at his like he was like doing a 3 celebration. And he looked up at it and he's like, "Oh shit, that shit's broke." He's like, "I don't know." That's the only reason. That's the only reason he knew. So yeah, shout out to Marcus Smart, man, for even attempting a 3 with a broke hand or a dislocated finger. Let's be technical about it. But so we'll see, and we'll see how that works out. But before that, he was top shelf.
Yeah, he was, man. Ooh. What, like 56, 50, 100 shooting splits before he went out?
9 for 16 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3. I know yesterday on the show, I was like, he won't shoot that well every time. He must listen to the show.
Yeah, he listens. He asked.
He listens. He was like, I'll show him that random white guy on a podcast.
Random white guy on a podcast.
I'll show him. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. I mean, look, I was watching this game. I didn't catch all the first quarter because I was with the kids putting them to bed and doing some other stuff around the house. And so like I was just kind of like watching. I would come in and watch the game every once in a while, just kind of check and see what's going on. And every time I came in, it was like, well, this is different. And this is different. And then I got to halftime. I was like, well, holy crap. And so, I don't know what happened last night. I mean, I know what happened. The defense was just spectacular.
God, it was.
They were spectacular. Just defensively, the Vince Williams, Marcus Smart combo on defense is so fun to watch.
They couldn't do shit. They couldn't do shit against us last night, against those two specifically.
Because you can switch those guys left and right in those pick and rolls or whatever. You can switch those guys and you can not lose any bit of defense at all on those switches. So they were switching between, Kyrie and Tim Hardaway and Luka, and any real. There's no drop off there, and that's the beautiful part about those guys playing together. And so, yeah, I love the fact that we started 4 guards or 4 wings and a big man. Hopefully, I know that the only reason we did that is because there's only 2 big men available. Darren and Santi both out last night, and so I hope that continues. Clearly, that is for this team to maximize their potential. This team, the lineup is 4 wings to be able to because you got 2 wings that can guard 1 through 4.
Yeah, and without Ja, with no reliable D-Rose, you have no guards. I mean, we got no guard depth. We just don't have the personnel to play that way now. Both in the front court, or excuse me, in the back court and at the center position. So we just have to out of having no other options, but it works. That's like especially last night, like if he sticks with the dudes, which I mean, he won't have to, when Jaren's back and when Santi's back, he won't stick with these guys, but that's what he needs to continue doing. That's what TJ needs to keep doing. Put a big, and then you have the personnel, you have the defensive personnel, just put the wings out there. Just let them go.
Yeah. I mean, the Grizzlies don't have a point guard to at all. They don't have a point guard. I mean, Marcus Smart's not a point guard. And so if he's not back, I don't know if he doesn't play. The positive thing is they don't have a game till Friday. So they got a few days to, if it's just a soreness thing, they got a few days to hopefully remedy that. And maybe he can play on Friday. If not, I don't know what they're going to do because they don't have a guard. They don't have a true point guard at all. No. So I don't really know what the plan for that will be. So hopefully Marcus Smart will be back. Jaren will be back, and you can see the lineup we saw last night to start the game, but with Jaren as the 5 instead of Bismack. And speaking of big, shout out to Xavier Tillman. I mean, the dude has, for as long as he's been on this team, the dude has been such a team player, always ready to go. Even though a lot of times his minutes get cut for seemingly no reason at all.
Yeah.
And then he comes in and have a game like that, and you're reminded, like, oh, yeah, this guy, he can play basketball, right? Like, he is a solid role player.
Yep. He's a guy that can go off for you in a game and help you win a game.
Absolutely. I mean, he didn't have like a huge game last night. He just had a pedestrian 14 and 11 off the bench. Like, played 27 minutes to Bismack's 18 minutes. So shout out to David Tillman. I mean, for the entire time of this, there has been stretches where he didn't play for a long time, and then Jaren goes down, or Brandon Clark goes down, and he's there for the entire season and does exactly what he's asked to do, and seemingly never complains about it. Probably internally, he probably wishes he was getting more minutes, as everybody in that position would be.
Yeah,
but just does his job. And so there is a place for Xavier Tillman in this league. I don't think we'll be with the Grizzlies next year, and that will be unfortunate because I think he is a solid role player. But there will be a place for him in this league next year for sure. He will be on a team somewhere.
Man, he plays like the adult in the room for someone who's not been in the league that long. And it's because he just plays with a level of maturity that is pretty admirable for someone his age. It's a reason why he will continue playing in this league.
Absolutely. Desmond Bane, 11 for 27, 2 for 9 from 3. Not a big 3-point shooting night. But 32 points, 9 rebounds for us. Speaking of rebounds, they out-rebounded on 54 to 30, 33. 54 to 33. That's huge. And I mean,
that is big.
X was the only big man to have 11 rebounds. Bismack had 4 or had 2. So this was a serious team rebounding night for the Grizzlies. All the young wings, Zaire, David Roddy, John Contra, they all played well. Zaire 14 points, David Roddy 11 points, and that had that big poster dunk. Like, everybody did their part, but most importantly, like we mentioned, they hung their hat on defense, and they're going to have to do that continually or whatever, just because they don't have the offensive firepower to hang with some of these teams, or maybe they do, but they don't. I don't think, just off the top. I think that the Marcus Smart shooting like this is not. He's never done it before in his career.
No.
So I don't know if I don't think it's sustainable. We'll ride the wave as long as it's possible, but I don't think it's sustainable either.
Unless his finger has to stay broken, in which case don't fix the damn thing. Just let that sucker hang off.
You think it's because of the broken finger?
I mean, it might be. I don't know. John Collins broke his finger and then never shot good again.
Look, just tape that bitch up. Throw some tape on it.
Tape that bitch up.
Tape that bitch up and get back out there, Marcus Smart. Like, I love you, but like, I'm sorry. Can't afford it. I thought, again, overall, everybody kind of from top to bottom played well, except for Bismack Biyombo. He was the only garbage kind of player there was. Again, Vince Williams, like we talked about, still, he only had 6 points, but had 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Like, even in the game
steals.
where 3 steals, he got credited. 3 steals, even in a game where he wasn't scoring, he still affects the game tremendously. And that's the mark of a good NBA player, is even when you're, he's a type of player that can impact the game even when his shot's not falling. Like, he'll always have defensive rebounding, and he'll be consistent with that every time. Sometimes his shot's
making what?
Fall, he might
$500,000.
Yeah, exactly. That'll change soon, though. That'll change.
Yeah, it's gonna change.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a fun game last night. It was fun to see him flying around. So
more fun than I was expecting, man. Like, I was not looking forward to. I just wasn't looking forward to it. Wasn't looking forward to the game. And as the news came out, it was like, oh, Jaren's out. Oh, Santi's out. I was like, oh, cool. We don't have a front court. Cool. And then they played well. Didn't fall behind in the second like I expected, and just kept pouring it on and kept not letting them score. It was cool. It was a nice way to end the night.
It was a great way to end the night. Again, I'm with you. I didn't expect to see kind of that level of playing for these guys. But I will take it every day of the week. I didn't expect it, but I will take it. And so shout out to those guys. And we talked about this on the show yesterday. I mean, they are not going to tank yet. They're not going to, and even if they do, they can't catch up with people anyway, but they are going to go out there and see what they got with this team for the next, 2 weeks or so before they really do anything before the trade deadline. We talked about that yesterday on the show. Talked about it on the Grizz 901 Emergency podcast that I did with those guys. Mm-hmm. And so they're not going to just roll over. I know we all talked about that was the kind of the media discussion was, well, now they're tanking. They're going to go out and lose games. And that's not necessarily the case with these guys. And I said that, yesterday as well, that they're going to go out and see what they got first. They're not just going to lose games. And even if they do lose games, they can't really help. It doesn't really help you anyway, in terms of your draft position. So, so they're going to go out and see what they got in the next few weeks. Hopefully Marcus Smart is not as bad as we think. Hopefully he doesn't miss a game. Hopefully there's no kind of internal, kind of tearing or any ligaments. That's kind of what you're worried about with the MRI on that, and that finger is it's kind of ligament tearing. And so, if that happens, I will be very sad because we just got to a point of really watching Mark Smart play. Because people forget he wasn't here for the first 25 games either.
Yeah.
So,
man, and it's like how much fucking bad luck you have as a team. That's why it's like, damn it, are you serious? Who did we piss off? Which one of the basketball gods did we make mad?
It was one of them because like you said, I saw the injury report of no Santi to Jaren. I was like, I don't know, man. Which is also why I wasn't like super like I gotta get to the TV. Like I'm gonna do some stuff. I think we were playing hide and seek last night with the kids. Like I was just hanging out with them.
Nice.
And so, I was like, I wasn't really worried about it. I was like, yeah, they're probably whatever. So I would come and check on the game every once in a while. But
you're like, oh, I'll be damned.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's different. Okay. The guy said I got to halftime. And I was like, all right then. Cool. Okay. I remember I was like, I was in a hiding spot looking at the box score, waiting for the kids to find me. I'm like, at halftime, I'm like, interesting. I will take it for sure.
All right.
So
all right.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back on the second segment. We'll do our love and hate next. Be right back.
I am highly upset, man.
Oh, man.
ESPN, you dastardly dogs you. Last week had us feeling good. They picked the Grizzlies to be first in the West with about 48.5 wins. And what a difference a few days makes.
What a difference.
You put out your list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Desmond Bane jumps in at 61. Jaren Jackson Jr. comes in at number 31. Jaren's top 25 to me, but if you, all right, whatever. I think that's a little slight to Jaren. Desmond Baines is disgusting, in my opinion. Then we get Ja Morant, All-NBA player, 2-time All-Star, one of the most dynamic offensively players in the NBA, Ja Morant. That guy was number 35 on their list, Kenny Stubblefield. The same people that said the Grizzlies will be the first team in the West, they're going to get that done with just some regular dudes.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Just curious, you kind of talked about the transfers and things like that. How has that changed your mindset from a roster management standpoint? Like, incredible recruiter. All the classes, I think we had 2 back-to-back and 21 and 22 top classes. How does that change with the transfer portal? Do you start focusing more on upperclassmen? Do you kind of get away from the younger freshmen? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still believe in our coaching staff, the way we do things and developing guys. And that I will never get away from that philosophy. We're still going to recruit a high school class. Now, there's a lot of colleges out there that say, screw this. We're pushing all the chips in on this roster, win right now, and we'll figure it out. Sure. And if it doesn't, right, it implodes and bad things happen. But I think you still have to bring in true freshmen and develop them and see what they can become. And that I'll never waver from that. But the portal certainly changed things.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind, a daily Memphis Grizzlies show right here on Bluff City Media. This is the part of the show where we do some shameless promotion. Look, if you're not already a Bluff City Media insider, go and do so. It's easy. It's cheap. It's $5 a month. You won't even notice it. I promise. Go and support Bluff City Media as an insider. You get access to our insider articles. You get access to our merchandise. You get access to our merchandise earlier than most, like new releases, 20% off all the time. So lots of perks to be a Bluff City Media insider. Go and do that. It's $5 a month. Also, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us continue to do these shows. Me and Luke every day. All the other shows, Anthony, Tigers Untapped, On the Bluff, tons of shows. I promise you there is something for everyone on our channel. So go and do that. Let's get back to the show. But before we get to our love-hate segment from last night's game, we haven't done this in a while. Let's do our stats monster from the game last night. And again, mine is as easy as it gets. I'm going to go with Desmond Bain. I don't know if there's any easier answer right there. And it's 32 points, 9 boards, 4 assists. Shout out to him. 11 for 27. Because he has made it a point to play to never let the Mavs ever beat him ever. Cool. Yeah. And so shout out to him. I thought that was a great game from him. Even shooting 2 for 9 from 3 still impacted the game with his ability to get to the rim.
Hell yeah. I'm going to go with Roddy. I feel like we haven't talked about Roddy in a hot minute. And, man, he hadn't played in a while. But when he got minutes, he went, 42, 50, and 100 shooting splits. 14 points, 11 points. Like, I don't know. It's just nice when these young guys, after not playing in like 2 or 3 games, come in and can still impact the game. For these lower tier guys, I'm going to give it to him.
That's a good one. Roddy, again, I'm a fan of Roddy. We like Roddy on this show. I feel like in spots where he's got those little spot minutes, he's done well. Mm-hmm. And so that's a good one too. So shout out David Roddy, Desmond Bain. Your Stats Monsters awards are in the mail from last night's game.
Yep.
Make sure you, when you get them, shoot us a thank you note. We appreciate it. So let's get back to the game or back to the rundown. Our love hate from last night's game. I'll let you lead on this. Last night's game. What's your best and worst?
Thing that I love the most about last night's game, we kind of ended on it in the first segment, is just the group rebounding effort. I don't know if these dudes collectively are like, well, shit, Bismack ain't doing a damn thing tonight. And then they're like, well, let's do this. Because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with at least 5 rebounds. Like that's not even something like Jaw's an excellent rebounder, but it's not like he goes out and our rebounding is totally like, oh no, the rebounding. They just realize it's nice to see these dudes be like, well, shit, guess we all have to step up. And I love that. You know, where we have been getting our asses just handed to us on the boards. Like it's good to see them collectively not get bullied. So that's what I love the most. Piggybacking off that, what I hated the most is I don't know what Bismack's doing. He's the one true like big center dude that we have, and it's like, man, well, you could have not played last night. I just don't. I love Biz, but it's like, what's going on, man? Are you just out of gas already? Are you out of, I mean, if that's what's going on, that's okay. I don't know. I just don't know. He after kind of having decent production, it's just kind of trailed off. And I think you need at least one center. And it sucks that we don't have one. I mean, X is good, but you know, like a true big.
Yeah. Almost like a Steven Adams type of guy.
Yeah, you know, like someone, I don't know, someone, you know,
someone like Steven Adams, not necessarily Steven Adams, you know, but someone, if we go to get someone like him,
Steven Adams type.
Steven Adams type would be good for sure. Let's see. What I'm going to love last night is I'm going to love Xavier Tillman. Look, I said it in the first segment. I kind of probably gave it away, but because me gushing over Xavier Tillman, but I thought he was great. You know, 11 rebounds, 14 points in 27 minutes, 6 offensive rebounds. Like that was huge. A couple blocks, that huge block on Luka. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Love to see that. A couple assists, very efficient, 6 for 9 from the field. Like, you know, he was over 1 for 3. I hated that. Like, quit taking threes. There's a reason why you're open. Just stop.
Just do it.
It's not you. That ain't you, man. That's okay. I love David Tillman, so I'm not gonna rehash what I just did in the first segment because I thought he was really good. But you stole my hate though. I was also hate this with Biombo, but I'll hate that broke ass finger from Marcus Smart instead.
There you go, broke ass finger.
I don't like that about this game at all. It made me very sad. It's just like one after another. You know, it's just bad luck, and it sucks. It's just there's no real way around it other than it sucks. And hopefully he's good and he can come back soon. And then there's no real kind of damage to that thing because it looked like it was damaged then. So
yeah, it did.
It looked very damaged. So shout out Marcus Smart's finger. Let's take another quick break. We'll come right back. We're going to talk our disabled player exception. We'll walk you guys through it. This is from the John Morant injury, obviously. So if you don't know what that is, we'll tell you all about it coming up next.
Seth Hennigan just still. He
doesn't look himself.
He just doesn't, in the big moments, he's not making the plays that have to be made. If you look at the raw stats, they're not terrible. But the 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he fumbled twice. They didn't lose those fumbles, but 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, one of them coming at a terrible time on a 4th down late in the game when Memphis really needed to put points on the board. But I just don't think Seth is playing well enough to elevate this team.
Right.
I think he's playing well enough for Memphis to be fine. But as far as for them to do something special and to elevate this team, he's just not playing like that.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Kenny, there are certain guys in the NBA that are enigmatic players. They're going to be appealing to a large fan base. But when you have guys like that, who like John Morant, who have off-court issues he's had, Kyrie Irving who has had the things he's had, the NBA doesn't particularly like the fact that those guys are larger than life. If I'm the NBA, if I'm ESPN, who of course are working together on all this stuff, I'm going to start telling you who you need to like. And it's going to be a different type of guy to kind of play off of the guys that are going to be there anyway. Let me put these squeaky clean image guys that we want to put in front of you up there as well to kind of counteract some of the stuff we get with the guys that we don't have any control out of. So let me put the Tyrese Halliburtons in front of you. Let me put the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders in front of you, the Josh Giddeys. Let me force these guys in front of you, not particularly on national television games, but let me just kind of create these little sub agendas with these guys to kind of make them those second tier stars that we're gonna put out in front as well. Like, they're doing this on purpose, man. Like, if anybody can't see this, Like, come on, man. Do not sit there and tell me that you really think that Tyrese Halliburton is a top 20 player in the NBA.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind, a daily Memphis Grizzlies show right here every morning, 9 a.m. Luke and I are with you talking Grizzlies. So far, the Grizzlies have not applied, not that we know of, for this disabled player exception.
They got until the 15th. Is that right?
They do have to apply for it. So let's talk about the disabled player exception and what it is. What it is, as you guys might remember from earlier this year, they had an exception for
Steve-O.
They had an exception for Steve-O, but they also had an exception, a similar exception for John Brand. That's how they got.
Oh,
Bismack.
yeah.
That's how they signed Bismack Beyond, but they had his was on the suspended list, right? It's a different one.
That's right.
So does disabled player exception is when you when someone is hurt for an extended period of time. There's a certain amount of time it has to be, and you also have to have a certain amount of players also hurt, right? So it is half. The number that they get is half of the value of the contract that the player is hurt for. So John Morant having like a $27 million contract, $25 million contract, whatever it is, they get half of that for the value of the exception. So the Grizzlies have to apply for it. They do have up to January 15th, and the exception is worth $12.4 million. They could go out and sign someone else with this exception that does not count against the cap.
They can't combine it with another exception, right?
Can be combined, and that is the long and short of the exception, right? Like, so that's how it works. The big caveat here is just like in the suspended player exception, the big caveat here is they have to have a roster spot.
Yeah.
And so they can't just sign someone to the roster without creating a spot for them to go into. So even though Ja's hurt, he still counts as a roster spot. Because the contract's still there. So that's the long and short of the disabled player exception and how it works. Now, I don't expect them to use this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, assuming they convert Vince's two-way, that's also a roster spot they would have to open up. So that's two.
Mm-hmm.
If they use this, that they would have to open up somehow.
Yeah, so if they sign Vince, they're going to have to create another roster spot anyway, because Vince is on a two-way contract that does not count against the main roster contract. So the main roster spot's the 15. And so, yeah, so they signed Vince, they got to create another roster spot, period. So we've already talked about this yesterday's show. We'll talk about more about Vince Williams as that deal gets closer. I believe Daniel Greer on his show last night said that he looked it up, and Vince's last game is actually he's eligible for is February 8th, which is actually the trade deadline, which is
shit.
Good for the Grizzlies. So they don't have to make any more moves. They don't have to make a move early
till the trade deadline.
Right. And so, yes. So if they want to sign Vince Williams, they have to have a roster spot for Vince Williams. And then if they want to sign another player with this DPE, then they will have to have a roster spot for this player. It's kind of like your TPE, which is your traded player exception.
Yeah.
But that's just getting people back in a trade and not necessarily just signing people outright. But again, the functionality of it is that you can use this to sign a player that doesn't count against your cap, or you don't have to use like a mid-level exception. You don't have to use a current mechanism in terms of the NBA to sign the player. You just get to be able to sign them up to that money. So
I'm trying to see. I'm curious. I mean, I bet pickings are slim. Are there any, like, what's the center? Like, what's our center? What's the center? God, market? That's the word. What's the center market looking like? Like, who's available?
Well, the best available center before was Bismack Biyombo, so I'm going to say not great.
Good point.
And to be honest with you, I think they would if they do sign somebody or go out and try to rectify the some sort of problem with the team. I think they need to look at a point guard before they look at center. Yeah, I think they need to look at a ball handler before they look at a center for sure. I think especially if they're gonna lean into this Jaren at center or the big one big kind of thing, if they're gonna lean into that, which they look looking more likely that they will, which I hope they do. then you don't really need an extra big anyway, because you'll have Jaren and X basically, and you'll have Biz too. But
and Santi. I mean, he can't play center, but I mean, you got more size with those guys back.
Correct. And so, and you'll get Brandon Clark back hopefully middle of February. And so, yeah, I think at this point, if they're going to use it, I think they should go use it on a guard. Somebody.
The reason that I feel like they should is because I'm with you. I don't think they will, but the reason I feel like they should, 12, it's a decent chunk of money. Like that's more than any of their other options. And I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the guard market is probably just as slim pickings as the center market. I mean, you don't get, if you're not signed by someone now, there's probably a reason you're not signed by someone now. So I don't know. I don't know what it looks like, but 12 million is a decent chunk.
Yeah, I just don't think they're gonna. I just don't see them using it because they have to. It would make them create another roster spot. I just don't.
That's tough. That's tough.
I think that's the bigger sticking point than just going to find some money is that they got to create roster spots for the person to be in. So
yeah,
I think that's the bigger issue than the money itself or the player who you're going to find to sign is that they got to release somebody to sign them. And so like at this point, your season's kind of already off the rails anyway.
Why do that?
Yeah. So why do that, right? This is really meant for like teams like again, you lose your superstar or you lose someone on your team to a season-ending injury, and you want to replace them and keep going, right, and continue to make the playoffs. And so that's if they had a full complement of team, they just missed Ja, yeah, then maybe you go look at that because you still got, but you got so many guys hurt and they can't stay healthy. So far down, so far behind. The math doesn't work out for you, even in the play-in. So, like, I would be kind of surprised if they used it at all. I just felt like it was necessary for everybody to kind of understand what it is. But I would be surprised if they actually use it. So,
I mean, they've not used any of their other ones, really. Like they signed Biz when they absolutely needed to.
They signed Biz, but they didn't even sign him through a disabled player exception. They signed him through the MLE. Yeah. So they signed him to the MLE, which if they sign Vince, they'll use the MLE again. They have a little bit of that left.
We got like 7 million, right? Yeah, that's what they'll do. They'll sign him with that. That makes more sense.
Yeah. So the way it works, just so everybody is aware, Vince Williams, the length of the contract Vince Williams can get is dependent upon how they sign him. I don't know if you
we could talk about you want to do Vince Williams tomorrow? We could do a whole Vince Williams.
We could do a Vince Williams tomorrow, and we can go through how they're going to sign him if they sign him. There's a lot of technical things on how it works with the 2-way contract. It's not just convert them and be done. So we'll talk about tomorrow. That's a little teaser. We'll do that tomorrow. Yeah. But yeah, I don't expect them to use this at all. So I'd be surprised.
Sean, I'm going to shout out Sean. Sean said we should trade for Jokic.
I mean, I would be down for that.
Yeah, I'm down. Can we do it? Who you need?
We'd have to give up like most of the team.
Everybody's on the table.
Everybody except for Jaren, Dez, and Ja, and Brand. Maybe everybody except for those three, and then you have 4. You have to play 4-on-5 every night. But actually, Jokic, Jaren, Dez, and Ja might be able to beat a lot of teams 4-on-5. I mean,
4-on-5.
Real talk. They could probably beat the Pistons 4-on-5.
Yeah. So. They can be the 4. I'll be their 5th guy, and we'll just make a run.
There you go. We'll just run around.
We're gonna do a run.
All right, that's gonna be it for our show today. We will. Someone said more reasonable trade target is Giannis. Yes, Giannis as well. Trade Mark for Jokic, please. I would gladly be a tribute.
Mark for Jokic.
The value exchange, it really isn't there. But I promise you, I would volunteer as tribute for Jokic to be at the Grizzlies for sure. In a heartbeat. I'll go live in Denver if I have to. I hate the snow, I hate the cold, but I'll do it.
This show would be
for
weird
you guys.
As fuck if it was just me and Jokic talking about horses. It'd be weird as hell.
It might be fun. It'd be probably better than this show.
Shut your mouth. This show's good.
All right, that's gonna be it for our show today. We'll be back tomorrow with another day of the grind. We'll have a Vince Williams segment. We'll do some more stuff. Again, they play on Friday, so we'll find some stuff to talk about, and then Friday we'll preview that game too. And hopefully we get some more news on Marcus Smart between now and tomorrow. If not, we'll continue to talk about good stuff here on the Daily Grind. We'll find something to talk about, I guess. So
we'll give you something to talk about. That's good.
All right, the show's gone off the rails. We'll see you tomorrow.